The one big thing that a lot of people are very curious about when it comes to episode 9 has all to do with the character of Luke Skywalker. This is Mike Zero. If you guys are new to the channel, do make sure to subscribe to see future Star Wars content. Now, that is one thing that a lot of people are very eager to learn more about is, of course, the character of Luke in this film by director J.J. Abrams. Now, we do know one thing here about JJ is that he will be taking Luke down a different path and will be delivering an entirely new Luke Skywalker that we have never seen before on the big screen in the form of a flashback and, of course, a Force ghost. And honestly, I know a lot of you guys out there are not really up for the whole flashback and Force ghost idea, and that's perfectly fine and okay and all, but these past couple of weeks or so, we've been learning a whole lot more about this film when it comes to some of the set leaks, the set designs, the concept art and storyboard descriptions, etc. And one thing that's very interesting is that in the middle of January, Mark Hamill is all set to shoot an action scene over at Cardington in the UK for episode 9, and this is honestly raising a lot of questions on whether or not this action scene, quote unquote, will actually be a lightsaber duel with Kylo Ren, or could it be something totally different in the form of a Force ghost? Now, we do know that a lot of fans, even including myself, wanted more action in Star Wars The Last Jedi when it came to the character of Luke Skywalker. In my opinion, in The Last Jedi, when Luke Skywalker was going up against Rey with the staff, they should have added in lightsabers on the cliffs of Ahch-To. That would have made more sense to me. But anyways, I digress. Going into episode 9 here, the fact that Mark Hamill is all set and ready to shoot an action sequence in the middle of January for episode 9, which, by the way, that is going to be in or around the last month of filming for this big movie that will conclude the sequel trilogy. So, in case you guys aren't really, too invested in all of this, the filming will be ending on either the middle of February or the end of February of 2019. It all depends on how the scenes go, how long some of the rehearsals take for some of the scenes between, Adam, Daisy, Mark, you name it. And we'll have to wait and see once filming ends. It's set for February, and at that point in time, we should be learning more about everything, like a cast announcement, who's playing who, and whatnot. So for the character of Luke Skywalker, we do know that Mark Hamill is set to begin filming once again in or around just 1 week from now. He's going to be doing a lot of scenes for the character of Luke in episode 9 and will film all the way through until the middle of February and or the end of February of next year. So that pretty much tells us that Luke Skywalker will have somewhat of a big role in episode 9 if he is actually going to be filming from the middle of December all the way into February. That's a decent amount of, filming for episode 9 from Mark Hamill. I would say that at most, he may be a little less than Han Solo's screen time in The Force Awakens. It seems like they're going to actually have the Force ghost of Luke Skywalker interacting with Rey, and then, of course, with Kylo Ren privately, and then eventually both and some flashbacks in the mix there. So that's honestly good. It makes sense. I think it's great, and we're not quite sure exactly what this action scene is going to be, other than that it will involve Adam Driver, Daisy Ridley, and some extras out there. So what is this really going to consist of? That's a big question for sure. Could it be a vision for Rey and or Kylo? Is it a flashback? Or is it all taking place in present time, in which a Force ghost is able to wield a lightsaber? I actually brought up this idea once before in the past, and I know it sounds very outlandish, but it was done in one of the video games, Star Wars The Force Unleashed 2, if I'm not mistaken. In one of the DLCs, you go up against Obi-Wan Kenobi's spirit and he fights you. So they may have actually looked at that and cherry-picked from it and got that idea and put it into episode 9. After all, that's what Disney and Lucasfilm do. They look at the EU, they look at Legends, and they look at how and what ways they could actually transform it into something of their own. Take Mara, for example, right? This is most definitely going to be a newer version of Mara Jade, portrayed by Kerry Russell, in my opinion. It's going to be lightly based on her, heavily based on her, I should say. If you look at Kylo Ren, he is basically Darth Revan, same exact scenario. So, with the character of Luke, that's the thing here. I think after coming out of The Last Jedi, and I'm sure a lot of you guys will agree, I think it's just pretty safe to say that a lot of people just want to see Luke Skywalker either, back in action or doing something incredible that's really going to, just shock us and surprise us and fill us with excitement and adrenaline and making us want to go ahead and see this movie, 5, 6, 7 times. I will admit, I only saw The Last Jedi 2 times and I saw Solo once. So I really want a Star Wars film like The Force Awakens and Rogue One, where I saw it numerous times, every single week, pretty much until it was out of theaters. So that's one thing that I'm really looking forward to seeing in Episode 9, is of course how well it's going to be, and how well it's actually going to be to the point where people are actually going to want to go ahead and see this thing repeatedly. And after all, that's exactly how the box office works for them, It's all about the hardcore fans, my opinion. Anyways, guys, drop a comment below. Let me know what you think about all of this in the comments. And if you guys did enjoy the content for today, do make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel. I thank you all so very much for the kind support, and I'll catch you guys next time.